Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Random Crafty Acts, or if you haven't been here before, welcome to Random Crafty Acts. My name is Barb, and this is an extremely simple card. We are actually getting ready to go on vacation, and I realized that I needed a card for a birthday. And it needs to go in the mail this afternoon. So I am going to do what's referred to as letting the paper do the work. That's a phrase that you see out there. And what will be the most important part of this A2 card is not necessarily what's on the outside, but what I'll end up writing on the inside. Okay, so I got out, this is one of my favorite happy birthday dies. I really like the way the print comes out in that. So I'm going to take this, this is a 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and it's going to go on the front of this A2 card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, I'm going to cut this at 4. Okay, and 5 1/4. Yeah, I've got all that on a chart. When if you watch me, when I lean back like that, it's because I'm checking the chart to make sure. And then what I'm hoping is that this, I can get this to work inside this 2-inch strip, and it doesn't look like I can. So we're going to do something that okay. So the first thing we'll do, since we cut that, is get out my Sizzix. And I'm trying to think, there's a way to do this. I just have to remember. Okay, what I want is the happy birthday cut in yellow, to fit inside the shadow, because this is like a shadow die. So I'm using a standard platform with a basic, what's kind of referred to as a shim piece, and a magic mat. I use a magic mat always when I cut. Okay, looks like something needs to be cleaned because I'm getting that on there. Okay. And then, let's see if I can get this to work. If this is going to go here, I'm going to cut that down just a little bit more because I'd like a little bit more of that to show. Okay, if I'm going to lay this here, okay, and then I could, okay. All right, this is a way that you can make the most of your paper. All right, this is going to be the front. Okay, I'm going to fit this in the back here, or the black will show through from the other side. But then I will be able to lay the yellow on the inside. So that doesn't sound like it makes a lot of sense to me. So let me show you how it works. Okay, just slide this over. And I always crank this one a couple of times just to make sure that it goes all the way through. There's been some talk recently on that Facebook group that I'm in about how some dies. Okay, so see how that didn't like really cut all the way? So I have to use my craft knife. So that it doesn't tear. Okay. And then this piece comes off. There are ways I can use this piece too to do something with. So let's save that. So I could take that and put that inside another card and do that. Okay. And so you have to, once you begin to figure out how all the pieces of your dies fit together, there are lots of ways to mix and match them to, especially if you do any mass card making. Like if I had 3 birthday cards to make, I could. Okay, let's glue. Just scooch off of this. I'm going to slide it just a hair inside the 4. And I'm going to slide, this is 5 1/4. I'm going to slide it just a hair inside that. Okay. Yeah, then we get a little bit more of the layer in the back. And I use wet glue so that, in case, as you're watching me, I have to slide things around a little bit, which for the most part is an option you don't really have with double-sided tape, which is the other thing that most people use. Okay, so let's look at our options here. I can set that just right inside there. All right, then I have this shadow that I can save and use over here. All right, and we're going to use my reversible tweezers to hold this. And this is one of those cards that I think I said earlier, the important part of this card is what's written on the inside. This is going to my husband's uncle, who is 94. He's a retired Marine. He did 3 tours in Vietnam. We just saw him recently. We're very fortunate to get to see him. He has the best sense of humor of anybody I've ever met. And while he never tells stories about the war, and I wouldn't ask him to, but he does tell stories about what it was like growing up, where he grew up, and it's amazing to hear. Okay, look at that. Okay, and the eye is a part of the tail of the H here. Then this little bit over here. Okay. I see this just took minutes. I really feel like that the most time-consuming part of most card making is picking out the paper and or picking out the design. Sometimes the paper determines the design, and sometimes the design determines the paper. So, okay, and so we get that in there. Look at that. What a happy little card. Okay. And just make sure that we don't do anything to waste. Let's see what else we've got back here. This is a 3x5. 3 3/4 by 5. Isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Let's see if we can build. We can put that there. And then put this inside here and just build that back. Let's try that. Let's see if we can do it. Okay. I should be using my reversible tweezers to do this because otherwise I'm going to get glue on my fingers. And so what I'm basically doing here is going ahead and building a, this can be used as a sentiment even if I don't like do what I'm looking at over here. And then this sets right up against the edge of the shadow. There is another technique which I don't do, and that is there's some double-sided stuff that you can use to cut for the cutting part, and you can, if I could figure out the name for it, I would tell you what it is. And if you know, I mean, it's like it comes in sheets, and so when I would have cut this, I would have cut it with that double-sided adhesive sheet in this process somewhere. I had a friend telling me about that recently, said she thought that would make some of this easier for me. This does not seem to be going quite the way I had hoped. Wonder what it needs. I don't think I like that. Let's see. I scraped all those little pieces into the trash, didn't I? Yeah, I would have to have those little bits to put all back in there. Okay. All right. You don't usually see me do that. I would edit that out, but let's see if we do it this way. There, we can do it that way. All right, we'll put this across the center. followed this with the tweezers. And there's probably, the glue is probably still sticky enough that it would have worked there. Have a table behind me that has all of my pre-cut card bases on it. I am one of those very, very, very fortunate people who has dedicated crafting space, and I realize that a lot of you are out there okay, this can go in my cards that I donate. Okay. And then I stamp the back of all of my cards with the stamp that my granddaughter designed and gifted to me. Random Crafty X Studios. This room is the studio. I'm not in business for myself or anything. All right. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate it if you would. It doesn't cost anything. I know that sometimes Google asks you to create like a YouTube account, and all that is the same Google sign-in that you're using for Gmail. I figured that out recently. If you could hit the like button or leave a comment, that also helps with the algorithm. I will link a couple of the other basic card making videos that I've got out there. I did a bunch for Christmas, for example. I'm gonna kind of run those out and around again to kind of help people. I know a lot of people are looking for ideas for Christmas cards. And I donate all of my cards to Cards for Kindness, so I will. I always link that below so that you can find them. They're a great source for yep, I can stick that on the inside here for a little bit of a decoration. That's the advantage of using. This is an example too of using everything of a 6x6 piece. Okay. Okay. So I got this card with that strip, and that went in here, and there was just a little nub off the bottom here that we threw out. We cut this out of the yellow and took all of the shadow off and dropped this into the hole that was left, which and then took the piece from a black that I had cut previously and used it to go here. Okay. All right. Thank you for watching, and again, if you haven't subscribed, I would appreciate it. Keep checking back. Pretty much all of my videos are made to help out beginning card makers. So I try to keep things very simple, and I try to work through all the details. Thank you.